As an executive chef here at the school, do you think that working with fresher and more sustainable ingredients as opposed to mass-produced ingredients makes a difference for you, your staff, and the university?
Yeah, I think there's a few ways it makes a difference. First of all, local food tends to be fresher, so it tends to last longer. Think about how long something lasts in your refrigerator, right? If it just came out of the ground yesterday, you're probably going to be able to, keep it. If you don't use all of it, you have a few more days. But like lettuce is a great example. We get nearly all of our salad mix on our salad bar now from a farm in Devons, Massachusetts, and called Little Leaf. And it's picked and it's to us in like 36 hours. Now, most spring mix comes from California or Mexico. So as soon as you get it in the supermarket, it's already about 2 weeks old. So it's going to last maybe at best 3 or 4 days in your refrigerator before it turns into that awful green slimy stuff. So first, it's great because it's economically beneficial for us because we don't waste food because it goes bad. It's economically beneficial to our community because we're keeping our dollars close to home, so that helps everyone. And third, I find that local food, fresh food, it just tastes better. So we don't have to do as much to it. You don't have to cover it in butter or heavy sauces or a lot of salt. Like a fresh, beautiful carrot or an amazing local tomato just tastes good all by itself. So students get the benefit of that in, great flavors and slightly higher nutritive value, and we get the benefit because it's easier for us to work with and it lasts longer.
Does the Farm to Fork program assist you in accomplishing your personal mission?
Do you mean the Massachusetts Farm to Fork program or just our personal?
Your personal.
Oh, yeah. So definitely. I mean, it's one of the things that if you look at a traditional broadliner, a large distributor of produce, like you're not necessarily going to see things like rainbow carrots or kohlrabi or some of the neat lettuces we've been able to bring in or some of the neat greens. So by working closer with farmers directly, we're able to bring in some stuff that we might not have access to otherwise. And so we're able to, again, to show the students a little more variety in what's on their plate.
The Farm to Fork program was implemented for sustainable, healthy eating here at the university. Have you personally seen this program make a difference in the lives of the students and faculty here?
I'd say it's anecdotal because I'll have conversations with people who will say, "Oh my God, I'm so happy you have this or you have that." And I think that a lot of times folks don't go out of their way to talk to you about those things. But when I do have those conversations, the people are really enthusiastic. And I'm okay with the fact that we're making some changes that, we don't talk about them a lot. We could probably do more of a job of educating about what we're doing here. But like for instance, we've moved from using liquid eggs, which a lot of institutions use, to shell eggs. So it means we get like eggs in the shell like you would at the supermarket, and we have this amazing machine called an egg cracker that spins them and cracks them, and we get egg out. Like it's magic. It's like you're cracking eggs but like crazy fast. And what's amazing about that is now we're offering you guys so they're super fresh eggs. They're from cage-free hens who are raised in a humane way, and one of the things when we've surveyed the students that's important to them is sustainable and local. And so it's like a step we've taken toward that goal that you guys have told us about, but we're not necessarily like shouting it from the rooftops, so folks might not know. Although I've had plenty of people ask me why the eggs are so yellow now, and it's because they're good eggs, like they're amazing eggs. So it's having an impact, I guess, because people are asking questions about why the eggs are so yellow.
And what's the most enjoyable part of your job?
I think, there's a few things. I mean, I love being part of a team. I have an amazing crew in the kitchen and in the front here in the dining hall. I love working with these people. Like I come into work every day with a smile on my face. And so that's great. Like being part of a team that works well together is amazing. Seeing students get excited about something I didn't think they'd get excited about is also really cool. Like last semester, the end of last year, we did this Indian dinner and we offered a dish called bel puri, which is this thing that like one student came up and said, "Oh my God, my grandmother used to make this," and that made me really, really happy. But it's a sort of unusual dish for Americans. It's a street food, but it's puffed rice and it's tossed with chutney and cold potatoes and herbs, and I was really amazed at like how excited the kids who ate it were. Like some came back and got like second and third servings, and they were really, really jazzed about it. And it was one of those things where I didn't think it was going to sell. Like, I didn't think we tried it, and I didn't think it was going to be that popular, and it wasn't, I mean, we didn't get inundated, but the people who loved it really loved it. Or like last week, we had a guest chef in, and we featured Alaska seafood. And, seafood here, it's a give or take. Like, we sell a lot of fried fish, but sometimes other preparations, not so much. And we had a line, like back to the soft serve, of people who were waiting to eat that food. And it absolutely blew our minds. And so there was a little stress because I was worried about running out. But I was so excited, and it was so gratifying to see that folks were willing to try something new and different, and that they were happy. They thought the food was great. So that, I think, is the most enjoyable, most pleasurable
that night.
part.
We were like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. We had the big bear cut out and all that.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool. How do you create the menu items, and what's the process?
So there's a few different ways. First, we have a database of recipes. You might know we did this transition over to an independently operated institutional kitchen with some help from UMass. So we have a lot of their recipes, which is really great because we use a lot of recipes because we have a lot of different dishes every day. So that gave us a good foundation. And then what we do is we talk to kids, we talk to students, and we see what you guys are looking for. If we don't have it in our database, or what we have isn't good, like we have some recipes that I'm like, oh, this is a real clunker. So we'll design a new one, either just like everybody else, we'll Google something and it might serve 4, and I just have to make it serve 800. And there's a little trick to that. Some ingredients don't scale up equivalently, like salt. You don't just multiply it by 200 and assume you're good. Like, you have to adjust some things. But on the whole, just like anybody else would find new recipes, we read magazines, we look on the internet, we get publications that have new ideas, interesting ideas, and then we try to test them on a small scale in the kitchen to make sure that they work and that we can do them in a large volume setting. You can't fry things to order, or saute things to order, or things like that. So how will it work? And then if we like the way it tastes and looks, then we'll put it into the menu cycle. We operate on an 8-week menu cycle, which means that that's the overarching architecture. So imagine the semester is 2 8-week periods. And there are certain items that are on shorter cycles, like our Clean Eat Station, our Taste of Home dishes. Those are on 2-week cycles. So you'll see that 4 times in an 8-week cycle. But generally we try to not repeat too many things in that cycle. And so the hardest part about, it's not so much the recipe development, it's actually the menu planning. Because if you walk in for dinner and I've got pork on the main line, pork on specialty, pork on the island, and pork on Clean Eats, and you don't eat pork, you're going to be really sad. So, or if I've got butternut squash and carrots and like yellow rice, the line's going to look really boring. So I have to look at every menu and make sure that all the proteins are evenly distributed, and then that all the vegetables aren't the same color or the same preparation. Like, it's not steamed broccoli, steamed green beans, so that there's some variety and difference. So there's you just move a lot of things around. You're constantly doing that. And then then we have special events, like tomorrow night's Halloween. So we'll be doing a special menu, so then that drops into the cycle. So that's a whole other set of recipes. Those are going to be easy because they're student favorites. It's turkey, it's mac and cheese, it's baked potato bar. But when we do like a guest chef event or one of our international awareness lunches, those recipes all have to get built. They all have to get tested, and then we have to make sure we can get all the ingredients, which for the international stuff can be challenging.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I drive around to a lot of small stores to get things and have to bring them in because our regular suppliers don't carry them. So that goes back to having fun. That's a fun thing.
The Farm to Fork program going in the future, and do you think that this will continue to be successful?
I think that everyone who serves food to other people, is focused on sourcing closer to home and working with their local communities. I think that here what we're going to continue to do is make incremental changes. Just because of where we live, our growing season is such that most of the students are gone during the most active agricultural period in the summer. But I think we're going to be continuing to refine, bringing the change we made with our lettuce last year, that's a huge thing. The change we just made with our eggs, the fact that our beef is grass-fed and grass-finished, and it's raised in New York State, it's just right over there. So we're going to keep trying to just tweak ingredients, perhaps not so that you're going to see this revolutionary, farmers market setup, although that would be amazing, in the middle of the DC. But what you're going to see is that the recipes will continue to refine them and continue to try to find things that you guys are excited about. But at the same time, tweaking it. All our potatoes are local now, and our onions, and we're continuously finding farms. The other big challenge is finding a producer who can produce the level of quantity that we need. Can be a challenge. But we have a relationship with Hinckley Farm, which is just here in Westfield, and Brittany, the farmer there. We can't get everything from her because she just doesn't produce that much. But we had this moment a couple weeks ago where she texted me and she's like, "Hey chef, I've got butternut squash. Do you need butternut squash?" And we go through a ton of butternut squash. So I was like, "Sure, how much do you have?" She's like, "I've got 400 pounds. I'm like, "Okay, we'll take it." And so it's developing those kinds of relationships where a farmer is comfortable picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, I got a bumper crop of this," or I have something that maybe it's not pretty enough for the farmer's market, but we're just going to cut it up, so it's okay. And giving us a ring, and that way we can continue to try to integrate more and more local produce. And maybe we'll probably never be able to be exclusive on that, but just because of, again, volumes are, and our students want tomatoes year-round. Well, I can't get local tomatoes year-round. I have to get tomatoes from other places. So, and we don't want to tell you guys that you have to have a pickled beet on your burger instead of a tomato, because that's not what you want. So I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I think it'll be part of our program. It's going to be a consistent thing where we're continuing to refine. Oh, actually, the sound of the beverage machines makes me think, Hylon, our milk comes from Lee. We've just changed over, so that's all local milk from Jersey cows. And that's one more thing that we're doing just to more tightly integrate us with that local economy and with the great local stuff that we can get.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.